Welcome back. This is Richard Golson, and we're looking at NetLab 13, configuring vSAN data store. And we're in our first task where we've been building out the vSAN data store itself. We've already created the distributed switch, which will provide the networking to connect our hosts that we will be putting together in a cluster. We've actually added those hosts to the distributed switch, and we've added the distributed port group, and we've added the uplinks and connected the uplinks to the physical ports on the host. So the next step is to add the VMkernel adapters to the hosts. The VMkernel adapters are required to connect the vSAN data store to the distributed switch. So this is a necessary part. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that now. And so to do that, what we'll do is we'll select that port group, the distributed port group called vSAN that we created. And we'll click on that and we'll select Add VMkernel Adapters. Now in the previous step, if we had the VMkernel adapters already, we could have just taken care of that. But we didn't, so we're going to take a look at how to do it after the fact. So now what I'll do is I'll select hosts by hitting and hit attached hosts. We're going to select the member hosts. So we'll select all of those, click the OK. And then once we determine that we have all three showing up on the list, we'll hit the next button. And on this window, the Configure VMkernel Adapter step, we're going to select vSAN and select Next. In order to see that, what we need to do is scroll down here. So this is one of the available services. So remember, VMkernel adapters are used for a variety of purposes, and you can see many of them here. We're using the current VMkernel adapter on each of the hosts for management in order to connect to the management network. That's a requirement. We're now going to use it for vSAN. So we're going to create a VMkernel adapter specifically for vSAN. So we'll select that. We'll select Next. So this will configure one for each of our ESXi hosts. On the IPv4 settings step, we need to set static IPv4 settings for each of those VMkernel adapters. So each adapter is assigned a unique IP on a network that's already been set up for us called 172.2011.0/24 network. This is not the management network. Also, we're going to skip adding a gateway to this because this is for storage, so there's no routing required. So we'll go ahead and select the Use Static IPv4 settings, and then we'll set it for the first ESXi host 01. And so again, that network is 172.20.11.51. So it follows a similar pattern for the management network. And then we'll set our subnet mask to a 255.255.255.0. And then you're going to find they make it very easy for you because you'll click in the box for the host IP address, and it says, here we go. Here's our next address in sequence. So we can select that one there. So now we have 51. Now there's 52. We select here, and it says, it looks like you might want to use the same subnet mask, so we can autofill that. And then you'll notice it autofills the subnet mask down here. And when I select in here, it says, hey, look, we can select the next IP address. Select that. And we can see now we have 51, 52, 53. No errors in there, no gateway to configure, so we'll simply click the Next button. That made it very easy for us. And now that we've completed that task, we can go ahead and just review to ensure we have the address, double checking the IP address, that it's in the 172.20.11 network, not in the management network. Everything else looks good. We'll hit the Finish. And then if we take a look down here, we can see that it's building out the configuration. I'll go ahead and expand that a little bit, and you can see it's updating the vSAN configuration. Ultimately, we should see all of these tasks completed. All right, that completes the next part of our journey In the final portion of this task, we'll be coming back to configure the cluster itself, the vSAN cluster. So I'll see you then.